While Liz Truss is nursing her own ego, there are more drones flying over Kyiv and Mykolaiv and causing untold damage in Ukraine, and particularly attacking apartment blocks and a warehouse of sunflower oil in Mykolaiv. So the idea that Putin put out that the missile attacks are over is complete poppycock. Now the trolls who are supporting the Putin group and who are evident here, of course, suggest that Putin is simply responding to Ukrainian attacks on Russian soil. Well, I don't see very much evidence of that, number one. But number two, the Russian attacks are coming from Belarus and are with Iranian-made drones, which I believe are called mopeds in Ukrainian. The Ukrainians call these drones mopeds. And they've shot down most of them, but not all of them. One particularly crashed into an apartment block and killed a young couple who were expecting a baby. And I don't see any way to defend that sort of civilian aggression, a sort of aggression on civilians. And the attack on sunflower oil. It makes no sense. These are not military targets. I don't see that Putin can defend himself against people who, like me, would say, these are not legitimate targets. The bridge between Crimea and Russia was a perfectly reasonable military target. It had been built illegally, and it was a phallic demonstration of Putin's power and annexation of territory that he didn't own. And equally, I don't actually think that the bomb or the explosion on that bridge was indeed a Ukrainian bomb at all. I think it's more likely to be a false flag to justify the missile attacks which were predicted and which indeed were threatened by people in the Kremlin some days before Putin's annexation, before the plebiscite, which was staged at by machine gun toting soldiers who forced people to vote. But I mean, whatever the voting efforts of anybody were concerned, the whole thing was rigged beforehand. Everybody knew what the result was going to be, and I don't see how one can control half the territory and yet get a 98% support. It makes no sense. It makes no sense if only half the territory can possibly turn out for that vote to get a 98% support. The maths doesn't work. Putin is fast becoming a monster, and there is no way back for him. I would love to see a way back for him. I think there is hope for everyone. But hope is running out for Putin. And meanwhile, we in the UK and in the West, we are navel-gazing and more concerned with our own nonsense. Mr. Zelensky has been pushed off the front page in British newspapers by a mad Prime Minister who is sulking at the moment. Sulking and hiding. Oh, and she's now invited everybody to a little drinks party in number 10. What's that, a wake?